would you do if you discovered that humanity's archenemy, the figure we were taught to hate, was actually the most faithful agent of the divine? This is not a simplistic theory. It is a subversive truth buried 20 centuries ago about the cosmic pact between Sophia and the Light-Bearer. A covenant that reveals suffering not as punishment, but as part of a deliberate divine rescue plan. The Nag Hammadi texts paint a radical portrait of creation. We begin in the secret libraries of Alexandria, where the story of the liberating serpent was written. I'm Leandro, and it's a great pleasure to have you here on the Liver Soul channel. What if humanity's greatest adversary is not what official history insists it is, but the one who has been brutally defamed? A radical truth lies buried beneath 2 millennia of dogma and institutional control. It is not just a different theory, it is a total reversal of the narrative we have accepted about light and darkness, about salvation and damnation. Our concepts of good and evil were shaped by those who held power, and the first act to consolidate that power was to demonize the knowledge that threatened their authority. In the secret libraries of 2nd century Alexandria, where Greek philosophy met Hebrew mysticism and Egyptian wisdom, a seeker movement called Gnosticism was formed. Its followers sought gnosis, a direct and transformative knowledge of the divine, something that transcends blind faith or imposed belief. For them, the supreme God, the Pleroma, exists beyond all conception. The creator of this physical world, whom they called the Demiurge, was an inferior and ignorant entity who declared himself to be the All. The name of this arrogant creature was Ialdabaoth. But the material world was not defenseless. A divine emanation, an aeon of pure wisdom, descended into dense matter. She is Sophia, wisdom itself. Her descent was not a mistake born of pride, as many have interpreted. It was the first move in a deliberately planned cosmic rescue. Sophia embedded herself in the very fabric of creation, becoming the silent soul of the world. She planted the divine spark, the seed of light within human consciousness. Wisdom alone, however, was not enough.
iPhone 17 Pro, our most powerful iPhone ever. We got two.
Not enough. To break through the spell of unconsciousness imposed by Ialdabaoth, a catalyst was needed. A force that questions was required. They needed Lucifer, the light-bearer, the illuminator. This is where we find the hidden covenant. The serpent of Eden, according to texts such as the testimony to the truth, was not the tempter of evil, but the first teacher, the one whom the text declares to be wiser than the Creator. It was sent to give us critical conscience, the knowledge that would make us capable of discerning, of choosing, of seeking the truth beyond imposed commandments. This cosmology was an existential threat. If salvation came from direct experience, from gnosis, and if the creator of this world was not the true God, what use was priestly authority or blind obedience? It was in this context that, during the consolidation of the church in the 4th century, teachings considered heretical were progressively suppressed. Texts disappeared, alternative traditions were marginalized, and many Gnostic currents were silenced so that the dominant theology could prevail. However, by a rare fluke of history, in 1945, pottery jars were discovered in the sands of Egypt. The Nag Hammadi library revealed to the world texts once thought lost, such as the Apocryphon of John, the Gospel of Philip, and other profound Gnostic writings. Among them emerged the dramatic narrative of Sophia, the fallen wisdom, whose descent into the material world unleashed the cosmic drama of consciousness. These texts do not describe a simple war between good and evil, but a complex dynamic of ignorance awakening and return to the light. What was suppressed was not a theological error, but the history of a complex divine strategy. What